Hey guys, welcome back. It's so awesome to see you again. We are at another book club meeting, and I'm slowly figuring out what these things are. And I think this book club meeting is going to be a book haul, a book gush, and recommendations, I guess, out of all the books that I just got. So, if you're at all interested in seeing what books I bought recently and how much I love them, then just keep on watching. I got a pile of books, everything I bought within a month. Let's dive right into it from the very first book on the top. Cut. We have Cut by Patricia McCormick. I read this book in high school. I did a report on it. I haven't read it since. I picked it up. It's really, really little. It's a super quick read, but I remember reading it and just thinking, okay, this book is deep. And that's probably a bad book to say about Cuts, but that was a bad pun. I'm so sorry. But I remember liking it and thinking it was really something. So I'm looking forward to reading it again. I remember a little bit about it. It says, Callie cuts herself, never too deep, never enough to die, but enough to feel the pain, enough to feel the scream inside. Now she's at Sea Pines, a residential treatment facility filled with girls struggling with problems of their own. Callie doesn't want to have anything to do with them. She doesn't want to have anything to do with anyone. She won't even speak. But Callie can only stay silent for so long. What I remember, this book is so good, and so I'm really looking forward to reading it again. And I saw it at a thrift store. It was a DI. Okay, people who are watching this that know what a DI is a DI basically a thrift store? Because I'm guessing it's just a secondhand thrift store. So I found this at a thrift store, and it was 75 cents. So I was like, I remember this book. I like this book. I'm getting this book. So don't read it if any of that triggers anything with you, because it's intense. For as though she be little, she is fierce, I read this book in high school, Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen. I adore Sarah Dessen books. She is probably my favorite contemporary author. I'm sorry, but I've read the most of her books. So going by majority of rereads, and I always go back to her books. I always love her YA contemporary novels. They're so good. I mean, Lock and Key, it says, she's used to counting on no one and answering to nobody, but all of that changes when her mother vanishes and Ruby is sent to live with her older sister, Cora. Now Ruby's got her own room in a fabulous new house. She's going to private school and, for the first time, feeling as if she has a future. Plus, there's the adorable and sweet boy next door, Nate. Everything should be perfect, so why is Ruby so wary? And why is Nate keeping her at a distance? Ruby soon comes to realize that sometimes, in order to save yourself, you've got to reach out to someone else. This book is so good. I remember reading it, and I've read it like maybe 3 or 4 times since then. I don't know how she does it, but each of her stories that I read, they feel so real. And they feel like someone I could know. And it's really good. It's really heartbreaking in some parts, but not a waste of time at all. I adore Sarah Dessen books, and this one is fantastic. Pick it up if you're at all interested. She's got some other great ones. If you want a Sarah Dessen recommendation for pretty much any mood, I can probably give you one. I read a lot of Sarah Dessen in high school. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I have not read this book. I've been meaning to read this book, but I haven't found it. I found this book and those 2 other books at that same thrift store. And I looked at it and it was like, this has been on my TBR pile for ages because I haven't actually had a copy of it. So maybe this summer I'll actually get around to reading it. I'm super excited to actually read it. Despite the tumor shrinking medical miracle that has bought her a few years, Hazel has never been anything but terminal, her final chapter inscribed upon diagnosis. But when a gorgeous plot twist named Augustus Waters suddenly appears at Cancer Kids support group, Hazel's story is about to be completely rewritten. Don't judge me, but I have seen the movie. It tore me to pieces. And I know the books are always way more than the movies, so I'm just gonna ignore that and probably just use it as faces. I'm really excited to read this book. I read Turtles All the Way Down, and I think I'm really gonna dig his writing style. Loving Lieutenant Lancaster by Sarah M. Eden. I literally just finished reading this book yesterday. I just got it the day before. It's not a hard read. It's a really quick read. I couldn't put it down. It was so sweet. This book is number 4 in a series. Oh goodness, it's the Lancaster siblings. You have Seeking Persephone, Courting Miss Lancaster, Romancing Daphne, and Loving Lieutenant Lancaster. And oh my goodness, I love this family so much. The first time I read Seeking Persephone, I was blown away. Like, everyone in her family is named after Greek mythology people, and I adore Greek mythology. This book is so good. And then when I found out that they made like a series out of it, Courting Miss Lancaster, I don't have Romancing Daphne. I don't know why I don't have it. I really need to get it. I adore all of these books. They're so amazing. So this was 100%, oh, it's upside down. This was 100% an impulse buy. We were just shopping, me and my mom and my sister, and my mom was like, oh hey, look, this book is a Sarah M. Eden book, Loving Lieutenant Lancaster. I was like, what, did you say Lancaster? Did you say Lancaster? That's I'm getting it. Like, I picked it up and I was like, yes. And this book is so sweet. It's so sweet. There are parts of this book that really made me cry. And it was the most ridiculous part because I was smiling and crying because their saddest parts were also some of their sweetest parts. Like, there were 2 that really stuck out to me, but there were way more than that. But they were talking about the saddest things, but the moment itself was just so sweet. And it's so good. If you love period dramas, romances, read these books. They're so good. Sarah M. Eden really knows her stuff. I love these books so much. Oh, goodness. The back of it says, orphaned as a child, Arabella Hampton was the unwanted and unloved charge of a cruel aunt and neglectful uncle. The only light in her young life was the kindness of the Jonquil family, and she clung to the childish dream of someday living with them at Lambton Park. Now, years later, the opportunity is presented to Arabella in a most unexpected way. She is to be the lady's companion to the Dowager Countess, and she takes up residence at the estate. The young woman soon finds that life at the park is far more complicated than she imagined. The lines of her position are blurred, and she is neither family nor servant. So when the Countess plans a grand house party, Arabella is content to hide in the shadows, but one gentleman sees her. Lieutenant Linus Lancaster has retired from the Navy and is not looking for love, especially when he finds himself entangled in his sister's scheme to trap him into finding a wife at a house party at Lambton Park. Yet, amid the festivities, he is impossibly drawn to the Dowager's quiet companion, Arabella. Their regard for each other is undeniable, but they are haunted by their past. Can the two find a way to bridge their two worlds? It's so sweet. You have to read Persephone first, and you have to read, if you don't read them in order, you will be spoiled. So, because they all take place one after the other, after the other, after the other, so things happen in the books, and if you don't read them, it won't be like a huge devastating thing, but you'll miss the cuteness. But Seeking Persephone says, when Persephone Lancaster receives a marriage proposal from the ill-tempered Duke of Kildare, she refuses, then reconsiders. The obscene sum of money he's offering Persephone would save her family from ruin. With her characteristic optimism, she travels to the far reaches of Northumberland to wed a greatly feared stranger. Lodged deep in a thick forest infested with wild dogs, the Duke's castle is as cold and forbidding as the Duke himself, a man with terrible scars on his body and his soul. But the Duke's steely determination to protect his heart at all costs is challenged by his growing attachment to his lovely and gentle bride. With caring persistence, Persephone attempts to pierce the Duke's armor and reach the man beneath. Yet he cannot tolerate such exposure, and his repeated rejections take their toll. But when grave danger arises, the Duke realizes he must face the risk of revealing his true feelings or lose the woman he cannot live without. These books are so cute! Oh my goodness! I love them so much! I'm not gonna get into the other ones, but like, these books are so cute. Read them. Next book I got was another impulse buy, more so for my husband than me. It is Selected Works of Alexander Hamilton. It's leather. It's so amazing. It's just a bunch of letters and things that he wrote, but I'm really looking forward to reading this. I started reading from the library the book that Lin-Manuel Miranda read right before he started Hamilton, and I really want to get that. It's so funny. So I'm really looking forward to reading some of these letters and things. I find Hamilton very fascinating. Like, I get why Lin read that book and then was like, I'm gonna do a musical about this dude. He's very fascinating. Okay, so as you see, I have Shadowhunter books, but I don't have all the Shadowhunter books, and it's killing me. So slowly, bit by bit, every time I have had the chance to, I have been getting more of the books. So now, oh, that's third. So I went and I have City of Ashes now, and I have City of Glass now. I adore the Shadowhunter series. Anybody that knows me knows this. It's taken over my life pretty much completely, and I really like the pictures on the spines. If you were here for last week, you know what my next two books are. The Six of Crows duology, Six of Crows and Cookie Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I adore these books. If you saw last week's video, you know how much I love it. If you haven't read them, there's a part where you have to stop watching, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out. These books are amazing. Like, I could not put them down. I got this one, and then I immediately had to go and get this one as soon as possible. They are so good. The characters are amazing. The character development is fantastic. The balance between character development, character background, and the connections between them growing and deepening, and the actual plot, the heist, the cons. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. If you've heard about these books and you've been wondering if they're amazing, they are amazing. Go pick them up. You will not regret it. It's just... enough said. You will not regret it. Okay, so this one reads, the Ice Court had been built to withstand an onslaught of armies, assassins, Grisha, and spies. When Inej said as much to Kaz, he simply replied, but it hasn't been built to keep us out. His confidence unnerved her. What makes you think we can do this? There will be other teams out there, trained soldiers and spies, people with years of experience. This isn't a job for trained soldiers and spies. It's a job for thugs and thieves. And then the front of it says 6 dangerous outcasts, 1 impossible heist. And whoo! These books are amazing. And then this one says, when you can't beat the odds, change the game. This duology is so good. If she started up again with another book and made it a trilogy, I would not complain. But if she ended it where she ends it, then that's okay with me. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. So, pick up these books because they're amazing. Any of these books that I've been talking about are really something worth reading if you like those topics. I am really glad that I am finally growing my library. I'm like reading a whole lot more now. It's amazing. I love it. Books are just so great, right? So that's it for this week's video. Please comment below some other books that you think I need to pick up, some of your favorite parts about these books, and if you want me to do a review on any of them that I haven't already done. I mean, literally the only one I've done is the Six of Crows duology, so. But other than that, go check out my socials because you will be updated there when I buy new books, because that's literally the first thing I do is like, look what I got! It's a book! Isn't it so beautiful? I love books so much. They smell so good. Books are amazing. I love books. And don't forget to subscribe because more weirdness will be coming your way. And next week, I think you're gonna like next week's video because I have convinced my dear friends to play a game with me. It's called Parabatai versus Parabatai. Remember how I said I was obsessed with Shadowhunters? Yes, that is a Shadowhunter terminology. Parabatai versus Parabatai. It's gonna be amazing. My Parabatai is gonna be there, lovely Kelsey, and then we have two other friends who are Parabatai with each other, and we are going to be seeing which Parabatai pairing knows each other better. So, yeah, it's basically the Newlywed Game, but with two sets of best friends, and it's gonna be really fun. We're all really looking forward to it. We've been planning it for quite some while, and that's gonna happen next week, and it's gonna be so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, stick around for that. It's gonna be amazing, and I will hopefully see you, and you will see me and all of my friends, well, not all of them, but most of my friends, next week. Bye! Sorry, Clary.